Okay, so it's time for a little unedited Lulu. You know, just filming, and this is almost like a second part to the last one I did, which was about my first experience with systemic racism. Um, I was talking to somebody about this, and I thought it was a good. It was like, yeah, it resonated with me, and I thought about it. I was like, yeah, I want to talk about it. So here's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about what has changed in the last since 2016, since we had a shift in power, and how has it affected me and how it's affected us. So I'm calling it the rise of the Karens and other things. So let's just so I want to talk about it and be honest. So this is real honest. This is real honest. So if it's too much for you, I apologize. But this is I'm not going to hold back my feelings, because I think people are feeling this way. And so let's I'm gonna tell you, I'm just gonna say it. I'm just gonna say it. And this isn't about how I think it should be, it's just how I am in this space right now, from the things that have happened from 2016 and where I sit in 2021. So the end of 2016 with 2017, right? So of course we know there was a change of power, and sadly the change of power was based on racism. And and if you listen to this, and if you agree with who if you agree with Trump, and so I'm gonna say it, if you agree with Trump, then don't say what you got to say. I'm okay with that. But let me tell you what I'm going to tell you about yourself. Your belief system with him, and your love of him, and your support of him is built on racist thoughts. It's based on your racist reality. Because nothing he says, nothing his platform was nothing about bringing the country together, making America great again. His making America great again was dividing it, and putting us back in a space that was actually still there, but it was a little more hidden. So let's just call it what it is. That's exactly what it is. His platform was based on racism, and tapping into the most base feelings of racist people. And let me say this, and not just the ones who are blatantly racist, but the ones who are secretly racist, who smile in my face but really feel that way. So he empowered them, because for so long they couldn't just be as blatant as they wanted to be. They couldn't just be out here just being just as ignorant as they wanted to be. You know what I'm saying? They just couldn't. And because they didn't have that, because when he came into power, it's like our president is saying what we are thinking. So now that means it's okay to say it out loud, because he's saying it and he made it to be the president. Let's just get that out there, because everybody want to tiptoe around it and dance around that shit, but that's the fucking truth. So there we go. So with that, we had the rise of the Karens. And we know we just call them Karens, but it's Karens and Bobs and everybody, with all of this, just doing just the most blatant shit to people. Recordings of them basically harassing you because you are a person of color, whatever color you are, person of color. They harassing you based on that, because now they feel emboldened, empowered to say what the fuck they want to, right? To say the most racist shit, act the most ignorant way in public, and then now here's the interesting thing: when the shit backfires on them and somebody actually films them, then they come back with the standard Karen Bob speech. No, I'm really not like that. It was just a moment. I'm not like that. Okay, shut the fuck up. Okay, so we know who you are. So in some ways, I think it was good for some people, because it actually opened a lot of people of color's eyes to how so many people actually move and feel within, deep deep within themselves that they have been holding in and putting their representative out, being your buddy, hey, talking to you and acting like they just cool as fuck. Now you have seen who the fuck they are. And how did that make some people feel? Oh my goodness, folks was in their feelings. Their feels. They was deep in their feels about that. So that's one of the things that has come up in this time. And because of it, it has pulled me back to a space and a type of feeling about white people that I had let go of, based on where I was raised and the things that I saw as a young person. Like I said, dealing with things when you are in a space where it's predominantly white, because that was my first experience with systemic racism. It wasn't the last, and there was quite a few that came during that time. Being a smart black kid in a very predominantly white area, you find out what systemic racism looks like. Because the one thing, what the adults understand, we need to tamp this one down because, oh my gosh, she's a smart one. So anyway, besides that, so when I was younger, I was less tolerant of white people. I mean, I knew white people and I was cool with them, but I was less tolerant, and I was very quick to dismiss them, and I was very quick to be like, oh yeah, nah, and I didn't let them get too close, because I was taught, don't let them get too close to you, because they sneaky, and they're gonna lie, and they're gonna smile in your face. And so and by seeing how they really were, I was like, oh, I get it. So I really, in my teens, and even to this day, I'm be honest with you, I can't watch certain movies because it brings up so much anger in me that I can't be, and then I get into this, and I'm just saying it the way I say it. We say it, hate whitey. That's what I feel. I feel that. I feel it deep within me, and I and I don't like that feeling, and so I had let go of it, and I'm chill. I like everybody, but I have to be honest. The things, the hate-filled things that these people have done and said, and how the climate of the country has changed. And let's just be honest, let's just call it what it is. The climate has changed during his tenure as president, during his presidential term. It changed. It became very us against them, and it made me, even though on an intellectual level I understand that this doesn't represent everybody, but it represents enough that I am now back to my suspicion and standoffishness and leeriness of white people. And that's just straight up being honest about it. Don't get me wrong, it's not like I don't have friends or think that, oh, there's some people, and I don't even look at it that way, but I'm starting to feel that distance that I used to give myself with white people, and I always felt like I can only be so much of a friend with them, because quite frankly, some of them when I was young turned on me. And that's the real truth. It's like when I did have white friends, a lot of them did come from those backgrounds, and so eventually they turned on me. And so I always felt like, okay, so don't be too friends with them. You can hang out with them, you can have a good time, but don't be too friends with them, because eventually they're going to turn to what looks like them, and they're going to diss you. And it was the truth of it. So I feel myself having that distance again, and I'm not happy with it, because it's like, the more the vitriol that comes out, the hate-filled speech, the crazy shit that these people say is just amazing to me, and it just makes me want to go. I just don't want to have any dealings, the least amount of dealings I need to, with you, and as a whole. And I don't want to be like that, because that's the way that's the whole vibe they're giving us. They do to us. So I don't want to be the same way, you know what I'm saying? Because of this collective that are crazy. Because I always say, I'm less concerned about what comes out of Trump's mouth, and more concerned about the people who follow what he says, because those are the scary people. I understand his agenda, but their how do I want to say it, their maniacal rabbit belief into everything he says is quite scary. I mean, like, let's just think about what happened right before the inauguration. We had homegrown terrorists, and they can call them whatever they want to, but these people were terrorists. They tried to take over the government to keep this man in office. Let's just think about that. They tried to take over the government. This is America. This is the United States of America. That shit don't happen here. That is not who we are as a country, as a nation. We go, yeah, that person won. I don't like it, but they won. That's what we do. That's what we do. We say, yeah, that was fucked up. I really don't want them here, but shit, that's what we were dealt. You take what you were dealt and you deal with it, but not Trump or his followers, his supporters. No, they decided, we're gonna stop this. We're gonna take over the government. And if that is not some scary shit, and what's even worse is that the people that were in the military and the police that were, what is it called, law enforcement, there we go, the law enforcement and the military that were there supporting this, in this whole thing, to take over the fucking Capitol and stop this. So I think that was the icing on the cake on, this is too much, and it made me just want to withdraw, and just, yeah. And then on top of it, let's talk about the pandemic. So the pandemic, when it first began, was a space of, we didn't know what was happening. This is the most unprecedented thing in our times. Across the world shut down. The country shut down. This was unprecedented. I mean, nothing like this. Who knew? No one could have predicted this to happen. It happened over fucking night. And during the beginning of it, there was a kumbaya. We were all in it together. We were trying to Zoom and connect with each other and talk to each other and just reach out to people to keep the connections going while we were stranded in our homes. And now as it has gone on, the selfishness of people has shown up, the inconsideration of people, the all about me has just become overwhelming. And people have become really angry, and it's just like this anger, because like I will always say, the streets were so peaceful during the pandemic. You could get wherever you wanted to in no time at all, and it was peaceful just being on the streets. Now, honestly, I try not to be out when it's nighttime, especially in the summertime in Chicago. On the weekend, like from Thursday to Sunday, absolutely not, because the people are so aggressive. There's so much violence. There's so much all this aggression and all this anger and then the sides, vaccination versus not vaccination. This COVID is a conspiracy. It ain't real until it touches your home, your people And that's the selfishness of it, because so many people don't give a damn about COVID until it becomes personal to them. So they walk around doing the most ignorant things, saying the most ignorant things, acting like it's no big deal until it hits home. And then they want the sympathy that they didn't give everyone else who was going through it, who was fearing it, who was worried about it. They want to give you this feeling of superiority, and you are just like weak, because you are just, you have all these thoughts about the pandemic and how you move in the pandemic and everything. And there's such bravado until it hits home. and then they want to post up, and then they want sympathy, and then they want care. Because I personally feel like if you really didn't believe in COVID, if you really don't believe in it, if you don't want to vaccinate, and now I'm not gonna say vaccinate, but if you are so ignorant about you, and if you, let me just clean it, if you don't want to vaccinate and yet you still want to do the most reckless things, then don't go to the hospital when it don't work, when you get it. Don't use those resources that you thought were so stupid. Don't use them. Save them for the people who really were trying not to get it, who were infected because of people around them who were just as ignorant and selfish. Let them use the resources, because they are the ones who were trying to help change this trajectory of what we have now. And let me say this, I don't want to feel that way. Like, for instance, I was Amina, me and Jerry went out to dinner because Amina was in town. Me and Amina in an elevator with some people, and these people got in, and just like everybody, it's just a whole bunch of us on this elevator. Now we got on masks and stuff. They didn't have on any masks. And the woman, she's like, come on, we can all fit in. So by now the elevator's packed, and they're in front of us, so we can't even get off because we're in the back of the elevator because we were the first people to get on. And then this Karen goes, as this closing, and all smug and act like this shit is funny. Yeah, yeah, now you no mask and you might be getting COVID or whatever. Something along those lines. And my immediate thought was, I hope your ass gets COVID. I hope your ass gets COVID. And not only do I want you to get COVID, but I want you to get sick with COVID. I want you to feel that virus just working its way through your system. And that is a terrible thought. But where we stand right now, I have those feelings, and I don't want to have them, because that's just like, so I feel like this, and this is for real. I read up on, noetic science years ago, and I truly believe in it. It's like the power of thought, and the power, like we say, like the power of thought, which you put out there in your thoughts manifests itself. So I hate saying those things because I feel like I'm manifesting it to someone, and that's a terrible thing to manifest on anyone. Even if they are the most stupid, ignorant person ever, you shouldn't be manifesting that kind of stuff, because I feel like less about them, but what it says about me and where I am as a person right now. And so I don't want to be there. I want to be light and bright and okay with the world. Let me tell you, the world is always going to be tough. There's always going to be stuff. But right now, I feel this heaviness and this aggressiveness about me that I had let go a long time ago. And anger toward people. It's just like, I'd be like, motherfuckers. And I even find myself having more road rage than I normally did. It's just like this all compounds, and I know it's based on the pandemic and how it has affected me as a person. No, I haven't had COVID. No one in my immediate circle has. Well, my cousin just had it recently. And if they had COVID, they were asymptomatic. They were tested positive but asymptomatic. So the people around me have not been totally affected. But I know so many people who have been affected, who have had deaths because of it, and my heart goes out to them. But then I have this anger and this white hot heat for the people who make a mockery of it and joke about it and act like it's nothing and move in a way that puts everyone at risk. The selfishness that we have seen is quite overwhelming. So that's where I stand right now. I kind of do feel myself lifting out of some of those feelings, but I'm just being real. That's where I am right now. But will they go away? I don't know. I am aware of them, and so I can, say, okay, you might be tripping a little bit, but am I wrong for them? And that's the question. And so that's where I am conflicted, because even though I know I shouldn't feel that way, I don't even feel wrong some of the time until I really go, oh, that was fucked up. All right, that's it. This is Unedited LuuLuu. Over and out. Be bold, be brave, be fearless, be free.